Who could have predicted the impact that the original Star Fox would have? This unusual collaboration between the Japanese giants at Nintendo and the British coders at Argonaut was not only an excellent arcade-style space shooter, but also gave us the debut of the Super FX chip, a chip-based coprocessor that, when added to SNES cartridges, vastly improved the system's ability to render and animate 3D polygons, something that the humble 16-bit system just shouldn't have been able to do. With the success of the game, a sequel was announced in early 1995 and scheduled for release that summer, and it was fully completed before being cancelled outright. With Nintendo planning to release their Ultra 64 console in 1996, the company felt that having such a technically proficient 3D game on their 16-bit Super Nintendo system ahead of the fast approaching release of their upcoming 64-bit system wouldn't be a good idea. Although in reality, the later renamed Nintendo 64 wouldn't hit retail shelves until years later. In any case, the completed Star Fox 2 was shelved, with alpha and beta versions finding their way on the internet. Meanwhile, Nintendo themselves mined the game for ideas that would later appear in Star Fox Command on the DS, and the game we're going to be focusing on today, Star Fox 64. And I refuse to call it by its European name of Lylat Wars because that sounds like some sort of skirmish related to a toiletry. In 1997, Fox McCloud finally returned in a blaze of glory, picking up right where he left off. Once again, gigantic simian evildoer Andross attacks the many planets of the Lylat system, but the Star Fox team are on standby and ready to strike back against Andross's army. Extrapolating on the gameplay of the original SNES release, this 64-bit sequel kept a very similar graphical style, but taking full advantage of the power of the Nintendo 64. This time around, the flat polygons were textured, and the entire game was full of pretty special effects and explosions. The nonsensical gibbering that came before was gone, and replaced with proper spoken dialogue that would eventually become part of Star Fox 64's lasting legacy, as phrases such as "Do a barrel roll" became just some of the infamous memes that sprung up in the years that followed. As before, the player started on the blue planet of Coronaria, and had to make their way to Venom, being able to choose multiple paths to Andross by their actions in each level. Flying under particular arches in Corneria, for example, could unlock a completely different boss that leads to a different area. While going from start to finish only takes a few hours depending on your abilities, the branched paths gave players an excuse to replay levels and experiment to find and complete every level in the game, and these alternative routes had the potential to change the difficulty as well. Much like how the original Star Fox was the guinea pig for the Super FX chip, Star Fox 64 pioneered force feedback, thanks to the bundled Rumble Pack. The Nintendo 64's controller had a slot to accept various peripherals such as memory packs, but once the Rumble Pack was plugged in, players could feel the force of every explosion and enemy attack as the controller vibrated in their hands. What was once seen as a gimmick in Star Fox 64 would later become part of the standard feature set for every home console since then, and this game was the perfect way to make a debut. Star Fox 64 had a few other tricks up its sleeve to add variety to the proceedings. It wasn't just about piloting the series' famous R-Wing craft, as Fox McCloud would occasionally take to land using the all-new Landmaster. Restricting the player to horizontal movement, players could hover for brief moments in this slow-moving tank, blasting enemies and rolling sidewards in order to dodge oncoming fire. Finally, the Star Fox team would even find themselves under the water while on the planet Aquas, thanks to the Blue Marine, an aquatic vehicle that takes the player to the depths of the sea. These additional modes of transport were a welcome change of pace to the airborne dogfighting, of which there's a lot of, especially in the game's all-range mode taken from the cancelled Star Fox 2. In some areas, players would be taken out of the on-rails areas and placed into an entire area of space, able to move in all axes and fend off enemies from above, below, ahead, behind and to the sides. It's in these areas that the Star Wolf team make their appearance, once again taken from Star Fox 2. Led by Star Wolf, this ragtag bunch of misfits pilot quick and deadly Wolfen-class vehicles, and it will require every manoeuvre the R-Wing is capable of in order to better your rivals. Somersaults can be used to get behind following foes, barrel rolls can deflect enemy fire, and boosting and braking can be used to avoid the many hazards in the way. Even with Star Fox Zero now available on the Wii U, there are plenty of reasons and ways to return to the 64-bit classic. The original Nintendo 64 version is available on the Wii U Virtual Console, while a vastly improved 3DS remake is available as well. In fact, this version's added gyro controls are a great way to get used to how Star Fox Zero plays. No matter how you sample this slice of sci-fi adventure, this is a release that is up there with Nintendo's best, and like many of the games we celebrate here on the Retrocast, holds up as a great experience. Its pick up and play arcade gameplay stands out on a system it debuted on, making it a game that is worth checking out before and after you play Star Fox Zero. This was another video brought to you by the wonderful gang of miscreants known as the God is a Geek video team. If you like games, then your good deed for the day is to subscribe to this very channel and check out all of our daily series including Blindfold Gaming, Score Attack and my latest series 5. Thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you in a fortnight for another dunk into the ocean of old games. Goodbye.
Should have packed the God is a Geek Patreon.